The wedding hall was glowing with lights and music. Guests were busy laughing, dancing, and taking pictures in the decorated photography booth at the corner. The booth was not just for fun, it was the memory station of the evening. Behind the camera, everyone expected to see a young professional photographer named Rita, who had been booked weeks ago. But life had made a sudden change. That morning, Rita had fallen sick and could not leave her bed. She worried about the wedding contract, but her cousin Aisha stepped in. Aisha was not a professional photographer, but she loved cameras. She often clicked photos of friends and family, and people admired her natural talent. She told her cousin she would handle the booth just for the evening. Rita agreed, thankful for her cousin's help. Aisha reached the wedding early. She wore a simple dress, not too fancy, and tied her hair neatly so she could focus on the work. She tested the lights, arranged the props, and checked the camera settings. She felt nervous at first, but told herself she only needed to capture smiles and moments. Soon, guests started arriving at the booth. Children laughed as they held silly hats. Couples posed with flowers, and old friends hugged each other while Aisha clicked their pictures. She gave everyone gentle directions like, stand a little closer or smile at the camera, and her calm voice made people comfortable. Slowly, her nervousness turned into confidence. Among the crowd, one man stood quietly with his little daughter. He wore a black suit that matched his tall figure, but his eyes often shifted toward the girl beside him. The girl held his hand tightly, shy in front of the crowd. Aisha noticed them when the girl tugged at her father's sleeve and pointed toward the booth. The man bent down, smiled at his daughter, and together they walked to Aisha. "Hello," the man said politely. His voice was calm, but carried authority. "She wants a picture here." Aisha bent down to the little girl's level and smiled warmly. "Of course, what's your name?" the girl whispered. "Hina." "That's a pretty name," Aisha said kindly. "Would you like to hold some flowers or wear a crown for the photo?" Hina's eyes lit up at the flower crown. Aisha placed it gently on her head, adjusted her hair, and guided her to stand on the spot marked for photos. The father stood beside her. For a moment, Aisha noticed how protective he looked, his hand resting softly on his daughter's shoulder. She lifted the camera. "Ready? 1, 2, 3. The shutter clicked. The little girl laughed and the man smiled faintly, almost as if he had forgotten how to. It was a small smile, but it reached his eyes. Aisha quickly captured another shot. "Beautiful," she said as she showed them the preview. Hina clapped her hands in excitement. The man nodded. "Thank you." He looked at Aisha a second longer than needed, then guided his daughter away. Aisha felt something unusual in that moment. She had met many guests since the start of the evening, but none left such an impression. There was something calm yet heavy about him, as if he carried both strength and sorrow. She shook the thought away and continued her work. Later in the evening, the same man and his daughter returned. This time, Hina wanted a solo picture. Aisha helped her pose, making her laugh by asking funny questions. The father stood aside, watching quietly. He seemed thoughtful, as if the joy on his daughter's face meant more to him than anything else in the world. When the pictures were done, Aisha handed the small printed copy to Hina. The girl hugged it like treasure. The man gave a slight smile, again, and said, "You're good with kids." Aisha was surprised at his words. "Thank you. She makes it easy." He gave a polite nod and walked away. What Aisha did not know was that the man was not just another guest. He was a well-known CEO, respected in the business world, yet few people knew about his private life as a single father. He had come to the wedding because of family ties, not expecting anything unusual. But the way Aisha handled the booth, the way she made his daughter laugh, had already caught his attention. For Aisha, it was only one evening of helping her cousin. For him, it was the beginning of noticing someone who seemed different from the people he usually met. The wedding continued with music and cheers, but a quiet story had started in that small corner, beside the photography booth where two lives had just crossed. The wedding night ended with laughter and music, and Aisha left the hall with tired feet but a light heart. She had managed the photography booth better than she expected. Her cousin Rita called later, asking nervously if everything went well. Aisha described how the guests enjoyed the pictures and how smoothly things had gone. Rita was relieved, and Aisha felt proud that she could help. But what stayed in Aisha's mind was the image of the tall man in the black suit and his little daughter. She could not explain why she kept remembering his faint smile. He was just another guest, she told herself, someone she would never see again. Life had a way of surprising people, but she was not expecting any surprise. The next morning, Aisha returned to her normal routine. She helped her mother with house chores and spent the afternoon editing a few extra pictures from the wedding, which she thought the bride might like. She did not know that somewhere in the city the man she had noticed was also thinking of her. His name was Zion. He was a successful CEO known for his discipline and sharp decisions in the corporate world. People admired his work and feared his strict standards. Yet behind his strong image, he lived a simple personal life with his daughter Hina. After losing his wife years ago, he had promised himself to stay away from distractions and focus only on raising Hina. His world was small, office and home, but the wedding booth encounter had stirred something he had not felt in a long time. 2 days later, Aisha was at a local park with her younger brother, who wanted to play football with friends. She sat on a bench, watching the kids run around, while she scrolled through her camera to check old photos. Suddenly she heard a familiar laugh. She looked up and froze. There, only a few steps away, was little Hina, chasing a butterfly near the flowers. And sitting under a tree with a file in his hand was the same man from the wedding. He noticed Hina moving too far and stood quickly, calling her name. "Hina, stay close," he said. His voice was firm but caring. Aisha's heart skipped. She wondered if she should approach or just stay quiet, but Hina spotted her first. The girl's face lit up. "You're the photo lady," Hina said, running toward her. Aisha laughed softly. "Hello again, Hina. Did you like your pictures?" "Yes," the girl nodded eagerly. "I put it in my room." By then, Zayan had walked closer. He seemed slightly surprised but not displeased. "We meet again," he said politely. Aisha stood. "Yes, I didn't expect this." He gave a small nod. "Neither did I. It seems my daughter remembers you well." Hina tugged Aisha's hand. "Can you take more pictures of me here? With the flowers?" Aisha looked at Zayan, unsure if he would allow it. To her surprise, he gave a soft smile. "If you don't mind." Aisha opened her camera and began clicking. Hina posed in her innocent way, sometimes holding flowers, sometimes giggling as she tried to catch butterflies. Zayan stood aside, watching silently. His eyes softened each time his daughter laughed. When the small session ended, Aisha showed the pictures to Hina, who clapped in delight. Zayan leaned closer to see, and for the first time his serious face broke into a clear smile. "These are beautiful," he said simply. "Thank you," Aisha replied. "She makes every picture bright." Zayan studied her for a moment. He had met many photographers before in corporate events, but none carried the natural warmth Aisha showed. She treated his daughter with kindness, not formality. "Do you work professionally?" he asked. Aisha hesitated. "No, not really. My cousin is a photographer. I was only helping her at the wedding." "I see," he said thoughtfully. "Well, you have talent." Aisha felt a small blush rise on her cheeks. She was not used to compliments from strangers, especially someone like him. Hina interrupted, with excitement. "Baba, can she come again and take more pictures of me?" Zayan looked at his daughter. "We should not trouble her." But Aisha smiled. "It's no trouble. I like taking pictures." The simple answer seemed to ease him. He gave a polite nod of thanks. They talked for a few more minutes, and then Zayan guided Hina away, leaving Aisha with a strange feeling again. As she watched them leave, her brother ran back from the playground. "You look lost. Who were they?" he asked. Aisha shook her head with a smile. Just someone I met at the wedding. She tried to brush it aside, but deep down she knew this was not the last time their paths would cross. After their unexpected meeting at the park, Aisha could not stop thinking about Hina and her father, Zayan. She went about her day as usual, helping her mother at home and preparing meals, but memories of the little girl's laughter and the quiet smile of her father kept returning. She told herself it was just a coincidence that they met again, yet part of her wondered if life was trying to tell her something. Meanwhile, Zayan could not stop thinking about Aisha. He had met many people in his life, but her presence was different. She was simple, kind, and genuine. Most adults he knew treated Hina politely but without warmth. Aisha had treated her with attention, patience, and fun. He wanted to see that smile again, both hers and Hina's. A few days later, Zayan found an excuse to contact her. He called Rita, Aisha's cousin, politely introducing himself. "Hello, Rita. This is Zayan Khan. Your cousin helped at the wedding. Photography booth. My daughter and I were very happy with the pictures. I hope she is available this weekend." Rita was surprised but pleased. "Yes, she can help. I am sure she will love to do it." She called Aisha immediately. "Guess what? The CEO from the wedding wants you to take more pictures of his daughter this weekend." Aisha's eyes widened. "Wait, what? Really?" She paused and laughed softly. "I never thought something like this would happen. It's a good opportunity. He seems polite, and Hina likes you," Rita said. Aisha sighed. "Okay, I will. Go. I like taking pictures anyway. Let me know the details." That Saturday, Aisha prepared her camera bag, selected a few props, and dressed neatly. She wanted to look presentable, but not overly formal. She reached Zayan's house and was greeted warmly by the house staff. Soon, Hina ran to her, hugging her tightly. "I missed you," the girl said excitedly. Zayan came out from the study, his black suit replaced by a casual shirt and jeans. His smile was genuine this time. "Thank you for coming," he said. His tone was formal but friendly. "Hina really enjoys your company." Aisha smiled softly. "It's no trouble. I enjoy taking her pictures." The afternoon was spent in laughter and creativity. Aisha guided Hina to pose with flowers, a small basket, and even her favorite doll. Hina giggled, sometimes twirling, sometimes sitting on the grass. Zayan watched quietly, amazed at how natural and comfortable she was with Aisha. During a short break, Zayan offered her tea. "You must be tired," he said kindly. "Would you like something to drink?" Aisha nodded. "Thank you. Tea would be perfect." They sat in the garden, talking casually while Hina played nearby. Zayan asked about her interests, her studies, and her dreams. Aisha found herself speaking freely, as if she had known him longer than just a few days. She felt comfortable with him, and his calm, attentive nature made it easy to open up. "You have a very kind way with children," Zayan said sincerely. "Not many adults can do what you did at the wedding and here. Hina is lucky." Aisha felt a warm blush. "Thank you. I just try to make her happy. She deserves it." For Zayan, the afternoon revealed something unexpected. He admired her not for her looks or her presence at the wedding, but for her heart. Aisha cared for Hina without expectation. She was gentle, patient, and cheerful. He had never met someone like that. As the sun began to set, Aisha packed her camera and props. Hina hugged her tightly again. "Come again soon," she said with a small, hopeful voice. Zayan walked her to the gate. "I hope this is not the last time you visit," he said quietly. Aisha smiled, feeling a strange warmth in her chest. "I would love to come again." As she walked back home, she realized something had changed. This simple photography session had turned into something more. She did not know what the future held, but she felt a connection she could not explain. Zayan stood at the gate watching her leave. He thought about how rare it was to meet someone who could touch his daughter's heart and his own at the same time. For the first time in many years, he felt a spark of hope that life could be brighter, not just for Hina, but maybe for him as well. In the days that followed, both Aisha and Zayan found themselves thinking about that afternoon. What began as a coincidence was slowly becoming something more meaningful, and neither of them realized that their lives were quietly intertwining. After the first afternoon at Zayan's house, Aisha found herself visiting Hina more often. Each visit felt like a new adventure. Sometimes she took pictures in the garden, other times they painted or played small games. Hina adored her presence, and Aisha felt a joy she had never expected. Zayan noticed the change immediately. His daughters' laughter filled the house in a way it had not for a long time. Hina talked endlessly about the photos, the games, and little stories she shared with Aisha. Watching them together, he felt a mix of relief and admiration. Aisha had a natural way with children, and she made his daughter genuinely happy. One evening, after a long day of work, Zayan returned home early to find Aisha helping Hina with her homework. The little girl struggled with simple math, and Aisha patiently explained with gentle examples. Hina's eyes lit up when she understood, and she hugged Aisha tightly. Zayan paused at the doorway, quietly observing the scene. "You make her smile, a lot," he said softly when Aisha noticed him. Aisha smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "She makes it easy. She is very smart." Zayan walked over. "I think she's learning more than just homework when you're here." Aisha laughed lightly. "Maybe a little life lesson too," she replied, feeling slightly shy under his gaze. Hina jumped excitedly. "Baba, will Aisha come again tomorrow?" Zayan smiled. "Yes, she will. And maybe we can have a small picnic in the garden too." Next day, Aisha arrived with her camera, props, and a small picnic basket. Hina ran to greet her, holding her hand tightly. Zayan followed behind, carrying a small mat and some snacks. The garden was quiet, with birds singing and sunlight streaming gently through the trees. Aisha and Hina set up the camera, taking turns capturing funny poses and candid moments. Zayan sat nearby, watching the playful scene. He noticed how naturally Aisha guided Hina, encouraging her without forcing her. He also noticed how comfortable he felt around Aisha. She was not like other people he had met. She listened, she laughed, and she cared without judgment. During the picnic, Hina insisted Aisha sit beside them. Zayan poured some lemonade and offered snacks. They all ate together, and for the first time in years, Zayan felt a sense of family that he had missed. "You have a wonderful way with her," Zayan said after a while, looking at Aisha. "She trusts you, and that is not easy for a child who has lost so much." Aisha felt her heart warm at his words. "Thank you. I just want her to be happy." Hina leaned on Aisha, whispering, "I like you. Stay with me." Aisha hugged her gently. "I will always come, Hina. I promise." Zayan watched this exchange silently. The bond between Aisha and Hina was growing, and he realized that he, too, was drawn to her kindness. There was something simple and honest in her behavior that made him feel at ease. With Aisha, he did not have to put up walls or hide his worries. Days turned into weeks, and Aisha's visits became part of their routine. She helped Hina with school, played games, and even taught her small photography tricks. Zayan found excuses to spend more time at home, enjoying the laughter and energy she brought. One evening, as they sat in the garden watching Hina run around, Zayan spoke softly. "You have changed something here. Not just for Hina, but for me too. I feel lighter, somehow more hopeful." Aisha looked at him, surprised by his honesty. She felt her cheeks warm. "I'm glad," she said softly. "I never expected to be part of anyone's life in this way. I only wanted to help." Zayan smiled gently. "Helping can mean more than you think. You have given both of us joy. That is rare." Aisha realized then that their connection was growing beyond casual friendship. She cared for Hina deeply and had begun to feel something for Zayan as well, but she wondered if he felt the same way, or if it was only her imagination. Hina interrupted her thoughts by running to them. "Look, Aisha, I made a crown for you and Baba." They both laughed, accepting the paper crown she had crafted with care. It was simple, yet it symbolized something bigger, a bond forming between three hearts. As the sun set, Zayan stood beside Aisha, watching his daughter with a soft expression. He knew their lives were changing. The photography sessions and small moments had grown into something more meaningful. He did not know where this would lead, but he felt a quiet hope that perhaps Aisha was someone who could become a permanent part of their lives. And Aisha, as she packed her camera that evening, realized that her heart had started to feel at home with both Hina and Zayan. The days grew brighter for Aisha, Zayan, and Hina. Their routine became comfortable. Photography sessions, small picnics, and quiet evenings spent laughing and playing. Aisha enjoyed seeing Hina happy, and Zayan appreciated the warmth she brought into their home. Yet life had a way of testing feelings, even when hearts were slowly drawing closer. One rainy afternoon, Aisha arrived at Zayan's house to find the atmosphere unusually tense. Hina was sitting quietly on the sofa, coloring in her book, while Zayan stood near the window looking out at the heavy rain. He seemed distracted, his face serious. "Hello, Hina," Aisha said cheerfully. "Are you ready for our photo session today?" Hina glanced up but did not respond. Zayan finally turned to her, his voice calm but distant. "Aisha, I think we need to talk first." Aisha felt a knot in her stomach. She followed him to the living room. "Is something wrong?" she asked gently. Zayan sighed. "It's nothing serious, but I need to be honest. My life is very structured. My work, Hina, and my responsibilities take almost all my time. I have to make sure everything stays in balance. I want you to know that before things go further, between us." Aisha nodded, understanding the seriousness of his words. "I appreciate your honesty," she replied softly. "I never want to cause problems for you or Hina." Zayan looked at her, his eyes thoughtful. "You are kind and generous with your time. I see how much Hina trusts you. But I also worry that becoming too involved might complicate things for all of us. I do not want either of us to get hurt." Aisha's heart sank slightly. She had begun to care for Zayan, and his words made her question her own feelings. "I understand," she said, trying to smile. "I only want to help Hina and make her happy. If that is enough, I can accept it." Zayan nodded, appreciating her patience. "Thank you. That means a lot." For the rest of the afternoon, Aisha tried to focus on Hina. They played with the camera, taking pictures of the rain dripping on the garden leaves. Hina laughed and posed, unaware of the tension between the adults. Yet Aisha could feel a distance forming. Zayan seemed preoccupied, and she did not want to push him, though her heart longed for more connection. Later that evening, Aisha decided to leave. Hina ran to hug her. "Will you come again tomorrow?" she asked softly. Aisha knelt to Hina's level. "Of course, Hina, I will come." As she stepped out, Zayan walked her to the gate. The rain had slowed, and the air smelled fresh. "Thank you for today," he said quietly. "Hina is lucky to have someone like you." Aisha smiled. Her heart warmed despite the earlier tension. "I feel lucky too," she said softly. The next day, Zayan called Aisha. "I thought about what we discussed yesterday," he said. "I realized I was too cautious. Hina enjoys your company and I enjoy yours. We can take things slowly, step by step." Aisha's face brightened. "I would like that," she said with relief. From that moment, their bond grew stronger. Zayan allowed himself to relax around her, and Aisha felt more comfortable expressing her feelings. Hina became the bridge that connected them, her happiness creating a safe space for trust and affection to grow. A few days later, Zayan surprised Aisha by setting up a small indoor photography session when it rained heavily. He had prepared small props, a cozy corner with pillows and warm tea. Hina clapped in excitement when she saw the arrangement. "You planned this?" Aisha asked, astonished. Zayan smiled faintly. "I thought it would be fun for Hina, and for you." The three of them spent the afternoon laughing, posing, and capturing memories. Aisha noticed Zayan's softer side, the way he encouraged Hina, the quiet laughter that came when she made silly faces. It was a different side of him from the CEO she had only heard about. As the day ended, Zayan looked at her thoughtfully. "I want you to know something," he said gently. "I trust you, and I hope one day we can be more than friends. For now, I just want you in our lives." Aisha felt her heart lift. She smiled, feeling the warmth she had hoped for. "I want that too," she whispered. The rain had stopped, but the small indoor session had created a bond stronger than ever. What had begun as a simple photography session at a wedding had grown into a connection filled with trust, care, and hope for a future together. And for Aisha, Zayan, and Hina, the journey was just beginning. As the days passed, Aisha's bond with Zayan and Hina grew stronger. Each visit brought new laughter, shared stories, and small adventures. Hina looked forward to her time with Aisha, while Zayan began to feel a warmth he had not experienced in years. Life, which had once been orderly and quiet, was now filled with joy and unpredictability in the most beautiful way. One morning, Zayan received a call about an urgent project at work. He had to leave the house for most of the day, but he did not want Hina to feel lonely. He immediately called Aisha. "Can you come today?" "Hina will be waiting," he asked. Aisha smiled. "Of course, I will be there soon." When she arrived, Hina ran to her with excitement. "Aisha, Baba has to work so we can play all day." Aisha laughed softly. "Then let's make it a fun day." They spent the morning in the garden, taking pictures of flowers, Hina posing with her dolls, and little creative games that Aisha invented on the spot. Hina laughed so much that her cheeks hurt, and Aisha found herself smiling without realizing it. She could see Zayan's influence in the child, calm, intelligent, and caring, but she also felt a strong connection forming between herself and the father. When Zayan returned in the afternoon, he found them laughing on the grass, Hina holding a paper crown she had made for Aisha. The sight made him pause for a moment. The way Aisha interacted with his daughter with kindness and patience made him feel gratitude and admiration all at once. "You two seem to have had a great morning," he said softly. Hina ran to him. "Baba, look at the pictures we took." She showed the prints to him and he smiled genuinely. Aisha stood, feeling slightly nervous under his gaze. "She is amazing at posing. I just help her," she said softly. Zayan walked closer. "You do more than help. You bring out her happiness." "And I see the same effect on me." Aisha blinked, surprised. "On you?" He nodded, his eyes sincere. "I didn't realize how much I needed someone like you in our lives until now." Her heart beat faster, but before she could respond, Hina tugged at both of their hands. "Come on, let's make a big picture for memory." They laughed and posed together, Zayan kneeling to be level with Hina while Aisha held the camera at the right angle. The picture captured not just their smiles, but the beginning of a small family. Later that evening, Zayan and Aisha sat in the garden quietly, watching Hina sleep after a long day of laughter and fun. The sunset painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, reflecting the warmth they both felt. "You know," Zayan said softly, "I never expected to feel this way. Life has been so focused on work and responsibilities that I forgot what it means to enjoy moments like this." Aisha smiled, feeling a gentle warmth. "Sometimes the simplest things bring the most happiness." Zayan looked at her, his eyes holding a quiet intensity. "You've changed my world, Aisha. I didn't realize how much I needed someone like you until now. You are kind, patient, and you care without expecting anything in return. That is rare." Aisha felt her heart lift. She had begun to realize her feelings for him, but hearing him say it aloud made her feel hope and courage. "I care about both of you," she said softly. "Hina has become very important to me, and I care about you too." He reached out, gently taking her hand. We don't need to rush anything. Let's just take it day by day together. Aisha nodded, squeezing his hand gently. I like that idea. From that evening, a quiet understanding formed between them. Their bond was no longer just about photography or playtime. It had grown into something deeper, based on trust, respect, and shared affection. Hina, unaware of the adult emotions, simply enjoyed the happiness around her, her laughter strengthening the connection between the two adults. For the first time in years, Zayan felt a sense of home and belonging. And for Aisha, the simple act of helping at a wedding photography booth had turned into a life-changing experience, bringing laughter, love, and hope into her world. The sun set, and the three of them stayed in the garden a little longer, savoring the quiet peace. Life was slowly building something beautiful, and neither Aisha nor Zayan wanted it to end. Weeks passed, and Aisha, Zayan, and Hina had settled into a rhythm of joy, laughter, and shared moments. The small routines of photography, picnics, and quiet evenings had grown into something more meaningful. Hina's happiness became the heartbeat of their bond, and Aisha and Zayan discovered that their lives were no longer separate. They were intertwined in a gentle, unspoken way. One bright morning, Aisha arrived at Zayan's house with her camera and props. Hina ran to greet her with a hand-drawn card. For you, Aisha, she said proudly. Aisha took the card with a warm smile. Thank you, Hina. It is beautiful. She noticed Zayan watching quietly from the doorway, a small smile on his face. He looked different from the first day she had met him. Relaxed, at ease, and genuinely happy. They spent the morning outdoors, taking pictures of Hina in the garden. Zayan joined in playfully, lifting Hina into the air, making her giggle. Aisha captured every moment, her camera reflecting not just images but the warmth and love of the day. After lunch, they decided to create a small scrapbook with all the pictures Aisha had taken over the past weeks. Hina eagerly helped, pasting the photos and decorating the pages with stickers. Aisha guided her, but Zayan also joined, cutting paper and arranging photos. The sight of all three of them working together brought a quiet happiness to Aisha's heart. When the scrapbook was finished, Hina jumped up excitedly. Look, it's our story, she said, holding it up proudly. Zayan smiled at her, then looked at Aisha. Our story, he repeated softly. There was a quiet significance in his words, as if he wanted her to understand that they were no longer just two people brought together by coincidence. They were building a life together, step by step. Aisha felt a warmth rise in her chest. She had never imagined that helping her cousin at a wedding booth would lead to moments like this. Her heart felt full as she looked at Zayan and Hina. The bond they shared was genuine, built on trust, laughter, and shared memories. That evening, after Hina had gone to bed, Zayan and Aisha sat in the garden with tea. The sky was painted in soft oranges and purples, and the air was calm. You know, Zayan said quietly, I never expected life to bring someone like you to us. You've changed everything in the best way possible. Aisha smiled, looking at him. I feel the same. Being with Hina and you has been wonderful. I never thought I could feel this way so quickly. He reached out, gently holding her hand. We don't need to rush anything, but I want you to know, I care for you deeply, and I want us to be a family, together. Aisha's eyes shone with happiness. I want that too, she whispered. The following days were filled with small joys, picnics, photography, storytelling, and laughter. They celebrated small milestones, like Hina learning a new word or taking her first good solo photograph. Each day strengthened their connection and made the idea of a shared life feel natural and right. One weekend, Zayan organized a small outing to a nearby park. Hina ran ahead, laughing, while Aisha and Zayan followed. As they sat on a bench watching Hina play with other children, Zayan spoke softly. I think we've found something rare. Happiness, trust, and love, all together. I never expected to feel this complete. Aisha leaned her head slightly toward him. It feels right, she said. Like it was always meant to happen. Zion smiled, feeling a sense of peace he had not known in years. Then let's not let it go. Let's take each day together, build memories, and cherish what we have. Aisha nodded, her heart full. Yes, let's. Hina ran back to them, holding a small flower. For you, Aisha. And Baba, she said. They laughed together, taking the flower as a symbol of their bond. That evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in gentle colors, the three of them sat together, enjoying the quiet and the happiness around them. What had started as a simple act of helping at a wedding photography booth had turned into a lifelong connection. Aisha looked at Zion and Hina, realizing that her life had changed in the most beautiful way. She had found love, family, and happiness all in one place, and Zion, holding her hand, knew that he had found someone who could share not only his daughter's life but his own heart. Together, they smiled at each other, knowing that their journey had only just begun. But this time it was a journey they would walk together, as a family. The story of the photography booth had ended, but the story of their lives, full of love, laughter, and hope, was just beginning.